and we welcome you to Homestead Miami Speedway for tonight's race for the Blazer Sim Racing Grid Network Truck Series, the Jurg Motorsports 200, here for race number 1 of the playoffs. And this is going to be exciting. Practice is over, qualifying is just now getting started, and we are ready to see who's going to start off the playoffs on the right foot. I'm Joshua Carpenter. I'm joined by Olivia Hayward. Olivia, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It is great to be here at what is, one of the favorite tracks, I think, of most drivers in the oval side of iRacing. And what a great place to start off the playoffs. Of course, we have 10 drivers fighting for a championship. Although Justin Rohr gets to kick back a little bit for this first round, earning himself a bye by picking up that regular season title. The other 9 drivers are going to have to push as best they can through these next 3 races to try and move themselves up into the top 7 and stay out of that bottom 3.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. We're actually looking at Micah Walls right now, and Micah has had an incredible regular season. Of course, Roth getting the regular season championship. So, despite the fact that Walls has had that really awesome, outstanding season that he has had, he's still not safe. He still has to fight for everything he's got in order to keep his championship hopes alive.
Yeah, of course, has a head start coming into the playoffs. He's sat on 21 playoff points coming through, 10 from his position, 2 from assistant picking up 2 wins throughout the season, and 5 stage wins, tied only with his teammate of Justin Rohr for best in the series. So he finds himself 18 points above the cut line. It's a nice little margin to have, but an early wreck to cost you both the stage points and those finishing points can very easily throw you back into the mix and put yourself in some dire situations for the next 2 tracks of New Hampshire and Chicagoland to close out the round of 10.
We're currently watching Justin Rohr. We talked about him being the regular season champion. He goes P2 on the board. Well, Kerfan has the top spot so far, 32.818. Let's see if Rock can improve at all on his second lap. As he comes off turn number 4, it's going to be P2.
Even better. So clearly, with it getting towards that sort of dusk and the track temps starting to fall a little bit, you actually want the additional heat in the tyres from that first lap, and you find some benefit from going around for lap number 2. What's going to be very interesting to see here is which lane ends up being preferred. You can see at this track with a progressive banking, a lot of drivers will run that traditional line, but you can also get a fair bit of purchase up right against the wall. And we might see that move around as the night continues to fall, and of course the track sort of gets worn in with the oval refresh track condition changes. Following with Levi Poland here in the number 45. Was in a must-win position over at Talladega. Couldn't quite close it out, but gave it a good go, and is actually not going to set a lap here. So we'll start from the tail end of the field for our race here tonight. It'll be 134 laps. Of course, 2 stops expected. We're expecting the stage at the end of lap 34, but with no caution. And those points, we've seen them be crucial in the fight for positions in the regular season, and it's going to be even more critical that you stay on the right side of the stage points coming through into the playoffs.
And that's going to do it for qualifying. And so we have the grid officially set. Let's go take a look at who's starting where for tonight's Jurg Motorsports 200. It is going to be Alex Kerfan on the pole with Justin Aran to his outside in second. Third, Justin Rott and Alonso Chicano will start in fourth. Fifth place, Rivers Jones. Travis Van Oostendorp will start sixth. Seventh, Michael Walls. Tristan Maher will start eighth. Ninth, Cody McCorkle. Gabe Gazzola will start in 10th.
And our 4 drivers who did not get times in during that qualifying effort: David Durand in the number 24, Levi Poland in the 45, and then it'll be Matthew Stotts and Stephen Thornton rounding out the field for tonight's race.
So that is the starting lineup for tonight here at Homestead Miami Speedway. It's going to be 134 laps, 200 miles, and ambient temperature is 80 degrees, 82 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, and the wind blowing from the northeast at 10 miles an hour, which is going to be tailwind down the front straightaway and a headwind down the back straightaway.
So, and that's going to affect not only your entry speed through the into the corner, but also it'll affect how the car acts on that initial turn-in, especially if you've got the wind to your tail going into turn number 3. You've got to be so careful as you get it tipped in, because it can very easily just lift up the rear tires and cause you a little bit of trouble. This track already not quite symmetric. You can definitely find different purchase in different lines, but especially with the strength of that wind, I think it's going to be pretty significant. And you've got to be careful to that. I mean, it is a thin field tonight, of course. What we'd expect from that is that we could see the race run green. And of course, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series finale happening just last week ran clean for 100 laps here as well. There's always a chance to have the similar thing break out here in the trucks, and in that case, any mistake is going to cost you all the way through the race.
It's going to be interesting. I think these guys can run clean and green to the end, which is going to require some green flag pit stops. And so we'll see how it goes throughout the night as these guys are working their way into turn number 4 and actually out of turn number 4. That pace truck, it's going to make the hard left-hand corner turn down into pit road. Alex Kerfan, Justin Aran, they're on the front row inside the restart zone. Green flags out. We're underway here at the Jurg Motorsports 200. And trouble!
There's a caution out already, and it's for Tristan Maher in the 17, and that engine's gone.
The defending champion.
What on earth happened to the 17 here, coming into turn number 1?
Oh my goodness.
Was there a bit of a check up ahead or something? He seemed to get on the brakes and then just snap hard to the right. Maybe a mechanical issue on board the truck?
I don't know. There was a wiggle.
On its own.
There was a wiggle out of Van Oostendorp, and I'm wondering if Tristan reacted not to get into Van Oostendorp.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely in reaction, because this is such a bizarre, unforced error from such a still driver, but I think it is just being in that awkward spot, maybe getting loose, and then it's the snap of the wheel that is so killer for Tristan here. There's one of those spots where you can try and catch it, with that opposite lock, but if it grips back up at the wrong time and it comes out from under you, it makes the impact so much more severe. And of course, being on the nose of the truck instantly blew that Chevrolet motor, and he's gonna be done for the day.
That is a tough blow for Tristan Maher, the defending champion of the series. I mean, you still see smoke coming out of that 17 machine.
Yeah, no, that ain't going anywhere fast. Tristan came into today with 11 playoff points above the default. Finished fourth in the regular season for 7 points there. Took home 1 race win and 1 stage win. Of course, that race win coming for Tristan over at Chicago just a few weeks ago. He's going to set off the last place points here tonight and is going to have a lot of catching up to do over at New Hampshire and at Chicagoland. That is our first caution of the night on lap number 1. We come to the shoes now, and Alex Kerfman, started on pole on that low side, is going to stick to it for the first restart of the night. He'll have control.
Now, I do want to point out, the good news for Tristan is you mentioned the 11 playoff points he has. And, yeah, this is going to be, well, probably is going to be a last place finish. But it's only 14th. So, I think with a small field, this helps him. As unfortunate as it is, this means that he won't lose a ton of spots to continue to lose points just from this first round.
Yeah, it'll be 23 points scored for a 14th place finish. So that'll bump him up to probably, 2024? 2034 it'll be. Just a matter of how much of a buffer the other drivers, especially the ones below, so that's Jones, Kempf, Corkle, Cazzola, and Chicano, what can they gain now moving to the front of the field as we come to the restart zone for our first restart of the night?
And the green flag is back waving. Kerfan gets a great jump. Rott and Jones kind of struggled.
Out. Kerfan not quite to the white line there through turns 3 and 4. You got Rivers Jones on the high side right now. I think it was kind of stuck too wide. I'm waiting to see what lines drivers start to take as they get into a single file and can choose where they want to run in this race.
We're going to be 3 wide. Michael Walls through the middle. Walls, he's going to try to get the 3rd position from Justin Durand. Running all the way against the wall. He's going to clear Durand and slot into line.
Yeah, great move there from Walls. Didn't have the best qualifying today, but did a great job working his way through very quickly to recover from it, and now runs up in the 3rd position, just ahead of Justin Durand in that number 5 truck.
Gabe Cazzola on the bottom. He's side by side with Rivers Jones, and I'm not sure. I refreshed Trading Paints. I don't know if there is some kind of glitch or if he's just running an all-white paint scheme with no number for Jones, but
that's what I'm seeing as well. That is the number 18, though you'd struggle to know just by looking at it. And this is easy to pick out from the crowd because there's no one else running that sort of scheme. So that is Rivers Jones if you keep an eye on that whiteout scheme.
if you're watching and wondering why some drivers have a green spoiler. Goodness, that was tight. Racing is actually, I'm going to hold that thought. We've got a battle for the race lead. Raw underneath Curfan. Curfan now elects to go all the way to the wall. Try to get a run on the exit of the corner. Rod's going to clear. Slide up in front of Curfan. Curfan tries to crossover move. They're going to be side by side down the front straightaway into turn 1.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about that high side. It gives you such a launch off the corner. This time, Curfan is low, but can't close off the gap to Raw, so he'll shoot the top side now, down into turn number 3. And they'll go at it again. Coming down through the back half of the track. Raw did lead that previous lap, just by the narrowest of margins, about 100th of a second. This time, it'll be Curfan with the better run off the corner, or the better position off the corner, but of course Raw has the run. And this is a great fight right now, and because both lines can work so well, it doesn't actually burn up the tyre as much as it would if this was sort of a more single groove track that they were dueling side by side at.
So they get that battle squared away. Get single file, but Curfan electing to run the high side this time by try to build some momentum to get back up to Justin Rott. And it's working.
It is lap 12 of 134. Remember, the stage will come at lap 34. So still plenty of time to run this one back. And we have seen in this series, in that opening stage, it can often be who has the better tyres. They can just get the move done before we get into the end of the stage and those points being awarded.
Justin Rott, you know, with him doing this, with him out front, he's already advanced into the next round. This will just, you know, take points away from his competitors. And so yeah, I mean, he's already punched his ticket into the next round. He can take tonight, next week, and the week after that off. But he's still here, racing, and looking to just get wins and take points away from others.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, you still earn playoff points as you progress through it. It'll get added to the next round. And so we're saying, in terms of his first round bar, yes, but he also has currently 31 playoff points to lead into round number 2, and he can increase that total. If he just keep going, 32 in fact, is the total that Justin Rott currently has. It'll be 33 if he can be there at the end of lap 34. And if we end of 134, it'll be another 3 on top. That takes him to 36.
Van Oostendorp and Durand are battling for 4th position.
Yeah, Van Oostendorp got around a few laps ago. Has been pushing up 2 spots from where he started. Interesting when you look at the lines, because you can run high at this track and you can sort of arc it the whole way through the corner. But if you try to get a move done, you can often try and go for a bit of a slider, sort of take the first half of the corner low, and then go high to block off in the second half. Ustoh stays high behind walls, behind Curfan. This is just going to be dirty air for the 2 of them behind. Just hoping that the other trucks would go on the opposite line and leave that top side open, but it didn't happen for the 23. And now Walls goes low, wants the opportunity to make it a Go Racing 1-2. Of course, Curfan driving for Radius gets the run off the corner and will defend that spot for now. And is looking back towards Justin Rott, to be fair. Has not backed off that number 76 truck.
If it's a Go Racing 1-2, we've only seen that a couple times this season. It hasn't happened much. Or rather, actually, all the time.
Well, to be fair, we've not seen a GOAT 1-2 that often, because oftentimes we've seen it as a GOAT 1-2-3, or a GOAT 1-2-3-4. just the 1-2 hasn't been all that common.
No, it hasn't. However, as Curfan was able to defend off Michael Walls, Curfan has actually gotten right back up there with Justin Rott and is now challenging for the race lead.
He's waiting. He can stay with a truck here. And he's pushing Justin. He doesn't want to necessarily be the one leading. He thinks that he can find something sitting behind and just let in Raw burn some tire potentially. She normally prefer to be in the lead to have that clean air, but with the multiple grooves being viable here, you can be the second car in line and still get clean air every corner.
I was wondering if it was a matter of he just didn't want to cross over to the bottom, would rather have the high side, but they both kind of ran the bottom through that corner as you were talking about it. Curfan still going to the top. Rock kind of moving in the middle, and Walls going all the way to the bottom. Slide job right in front of Curfan.
But it doesn't carry the momentum, and Curfan gets to the low side off the corner. Is going to have that inside line for turn 3. Rort struggling to hold that mid-corner speed, and it's going to slot in behind. Might have a run down towards turn number 1, but you can see Curfan has the upper hand in this fight right now.
Curfan was able to lead that lap. Rott able to do a crossover move to get underneath Curfan, and Curfan's going to fight off Rott. He's going to be the new race leader.
And the problem for Rott there is he couldn't clear that time. He couldn't pull that slide job, which meant he had to bleed off more speed mid-corner to keep it tight on exit. And so not only do you not get the track position, it sacrifices your run off the corner even more, and it just means that Curfan has the momentum, and now Rott is falling back towards maybe his teammate in the number 7, who, remember, is in an active playoff fight. He's not waiting right now. Walls needs these points to make himself more secure going forward, and he's going to go to the low side and try and take that second position, as that's a big hit of the wall for Rott. It's a tiny scrape for Curfan. In fact, Walls is going to be there to try and challenge Curfan for the lead now, and Rott's down to 4th.
It's amazing how these guys are on 20 lap old tires and still all group packed up together like this. Rott has fallen down to 4th with Van Oostendorp getting up to 3rd. Walls underneath Curfan trying to get the race lead. And Justin Durant kind of just lurking in the background.
Yeah, Durant, of course, started on the outside pole here today. Has fallen back to 5th place as things run, but is still well within a second of these race leaders, can easily get through, and as we've seen, overtakes are not that hard to make happen here. You can very much engineer a move here at Homestead. What I'll say is the drivers might be close together, but the tyres are not in good shape. You see up into the wall nearly, I think, for Curfan. Maybe did catch a piece of it, and that'll give Walls a good run. He might lead this lap. It's going to be a photo finish for that lap number 24, and Walls takes it by 1,000th. So that is a great job for Walls. I think that's a bonus point as well, let's not forget. But yeah, they're 2.5 slower than what they were at the start of this race. So these tyres are hurting, and they are nowhere close to the end of this run.
Not at all. And Walls was able to get clear of Curfan there with the slide job. Curfan with the crossover and executed it textbook. Now it's another slide job and another crossover, this time from Walls. These guys just trade slide jobs and crossovers, almost making me think I'm watching the high limit sprint cars, which are supposed to be racing tonight.
And this is why, if you ask anyone, even over on the IndyCar side, they love Homestead. If you can get the good package to race at Homestead, there's so many options, and the main thing that provides that is that slightly progressive banking. It's 18 degrees down at the white line. It's 20 up against the wall. And you might think 2 degrees of difference is not that significant, but it just gives that top side a little more fighting chance and allows for those slingshot moves around the top, and of course, then those crossover moves in response.
My goodness, this battle for third, Justin Rand has just took it over, but Van Oostendorp and Rott both won it themselves, so Durand, who started the lap 5th, got up to 3rd, well, finished the lap in 5th.
And it's lurked some sounds in that situation like an IndyCar swap draft, but it's not. These drivers are all fighting, jockeying for position. Unfortunately, it means they are starting to fall away from your 2 leaders, who have settled down just a little bit. Durand now goes to the low side. Van Oostendorp up on the high side, right behind Justin Roth. And is Durand going to be able to clear off the corner and block off that move from Van Oostendorp? Not quite. Maybe had it for a moment, but didn't feel confident slamming that door shut on lap number 28. He's going to fight it another time around that inside groove and see if he can finally clear that 23 truck. Oh, and straight for the wall from Rivers Jones in back of shot there. A little bit loose from Van Oostendorp as well off the corner. This is where the tyres are really starting to hurt. They're really starting to go on the rears as well, which is quite unusual, I guess, for these trucks sometimes. It's just getting more and more difficult to hang on as we are 5 laps left to go in the stage. We're about towards some points for these playoff drivers. Justin Roth is up in the wall ahead of Justin Durand. And they are going to be side by side for 3rd place coming out of turn number 2.
I have noticed a lot of drivers struggling using that high line. A lot of wall taps, wall hugs, whatever you want to call them. I've been watching Jones get it quite a bit as well, and that one you mentioned really hurt him. Justin Roth back up there against the wall as he is in a fight with Justin Rand still. These two going at it, and there's history between those 2 drivers as well. But right now it is Roth over to Rand. And I want to talk about Alonso Chicano a little bit. He qualified in 4th, fell back a little bit, and is just kind of riding in 6th place right now. And it looks like Chicano, he is staying patient. It doesn't look like he is really trying to push his truck right now and take care of those tires. He's squeaked into the playoffs, and I think that surprised him even, that he is a playoff driver right now. Alonso Chicano just trying to bide his time.
Yeah, of course, making it into the playoffs by virtue of Michael Kruger forfeiting his spot. Kruger with 2 wins, finished in the top 10 in points for the regular season, but wasn't able to commit to the playoff schedule, and so opened up that last spot. It did go to Chicano, but it was at risk of being snatched away by a must-win driver in that final race at Talladega. In the end, it did go the way of the 25, and so these 5 stage points could be important for the 25 crew, just bringing themselves a little bit further up the table, because right now they are the only driver sat without a single playoff point in this field. Well, Michael Walls took that stage win ahead of Alex Kirkman. Justin Durand, and Travis Van Oostendorp for the top 5. As mentioned, Chicano picked up 5 points, finishing in 6th. And then Cody McCorkle, David Durand, Rivers Jones, and Gabe Cazzola picking up that final playoff, or final stage point as we head into that second stage. And we stayed green. There's probably another 10 laps or so before drivers will be starting to look towards pit lane. So how you've managed tyres is going to be crucial. And in fact, here you see a move for second place, Justin Rawley, to charge through the field. And Chicano as well found that surge to move up into 5th place just behind, although Van Oostendorp going to maybe look for a response. He's going to sit behind into turn 3. You do wonder how many drivers burn up the last of their tyre to try to get to the end of the stage. They've still got to make it a fair bit longer into the pit window. And now you see the shuffling start once again.
I'm very surprised Justin Rott still has the right side. The amount of times he has touched the wall. And he's in second place right now, but Kerfan is still battling, still fighting, and they're side by side. Rott gets into the wall on exit 4. Maybe a little contact with Kerfan.
Shot him down the racetrack. Kerfan with great reactions, not get caught up in that. But it puts him under a little bit of threat now from Justin Durand. He had to check up to not run over the 76. And in the end, he's the one that could have paid the price for it. And just defend for the time being. But Raw is struggling. Very much has the Homestead stripe on that passenger side door. And it's a miracle we didn't get a caution coming out of turn 4 just there.
Yeah, that's crazy. These guys were able to hold on to it. Kerfan once again going to get to the inside of Rott. This time out of turn number 2. Rott stays ahead of Kerfan. Justin Durand going to take that peek to the inside of Alex Kerfan. Durand gets clear, slides up in front of Kerfan.
Great move from the number 5 there, of course. Durand, a driver for Radius Racing, as is Kerfan, so they would race that one a little bit cleaner, just to make sure they both stay in contention, don't burn up the tyres too much, because they do have a great lead to Chicano back in 5th place, 2.5 seconds. Even from Kerfan to Chicano right now. They would love for this to be a 4-car fight for the win, and to leave the other drivers behind just increases your odds that little bit. There's the fight side by side. That is David Durand trying to get the move done on Cody McCorkle in that number 2 truck. Of course, McCorkle, one of our playoff drivers, starting at tied for the final spot with William Kemp. Although Kemp not present here today, and so is going to be falling down the order pretty significantly. McCorkle really needs those points to move from the playoff, because he's not starting on the best total.
Yeah, he is not, and it's just not been the season for McCorkle that he'd like to have had. But did make the playoffs, and I think that was a relief for him to know that he was able to point himself in to that position.
Yeah, and of course, once you got a ticket to the dance, you can make anything happen. We don't have any sort of guaranteed win and in situations to move into the following round, but the points for a win are going to help you out a lot when the field is as tight as it is, at least once you ignore Rawton Walls on a huge buffer at the top of the table.
These guys still continuing to battle for that second spot. Meanwhile, Walls has just sailed away. Wall's actually a former winner here at Homestead in the Blazer Sim Racing Grid Network Truck Series. I believe it was the first win we saw for him. I could be wrong on that, but I do believe that is the case.
Yeah, and of course, Walls picked up the win at Kansas at the end of August in a caution-free affair, and so it's another one of these races like how this one has been so far, where that long run pace, managing those tires, is vital, and Walls was expert in that, even beating out teammate Justin Raw in what was a GOAT Inc. 1, 2, 3, 4 over at Kansas. Micah's other win came at North Wilkesboro, which is slightly less of a no caution tire safe affair.
Just a little bit. Two drivers came down pit road the last time by. It was Rivers Jones and Gabe Cazzola. So pit cycle has started as your race leader, Michael Walls, comes down pit road as well. And it looks like Van Oostendorp going to follow suit.
Yeah, and this is the 1/3 point of the race, and so it's not a bad time to make that call. But drivers can extend a bit, because of course we had that caution at the start. You can probably extend to about lap 50 and still be pretty confident on your sort of tire life, but it is going to give drivers who pit early an advantage. And I think we might see Alex Kerfan, in fact, peel down this time by. Doesn't want to let Michael Walls build an even larger lead, and is going to turn into pit lane. The two Justins are going to opt for the tire delta instead. They're going to stay out for another lap, as that was Michael Walls exiting pit lane just one lap down and the back to shot there.
Justin Durand and Justin Rott battling for the race lead as Durand really dives it down there into 3. He had the lead for a moment. Rott just edged him out at the line, though.
And, I mean, this isn't the situation you want to be in. If you're already trying to make an overcut, trying to be on different strategies to cars around you, you don't want to be fighting side by side. Durand has to turn down the track because Raw just has the tiniest bit of a nose. And there's Walls going to unlap himself already. One of these drivers needs to pit out of this situation, if not both of them. They're both going to stay out another lap. They're going to hope for the caution to put themselves in a good spot compared to drivers that have pit. We did have Van Oostendorp, unfortunately, with a mistake coming off pit road, spun into the grass down below the access lane, coming out of the pit lane, and lost a good few seconds to the field. So while he was in a great fight with, I think with Tony McCorkle, I think we'd expect the two, even with this overcut, to maybe come out ahead of that 23 truck.
Justin Durand coming down into pit road.
And I think that's a good call. You got a good 3-4 lap delta to the drivers you're fighting. If you give them any more, they're going to be 10, 15, 20 seconds up the road by the time you end up making that call. Justin Raw pulled low there. I just noticed coming into turn number 3. Maybe was thinking about letting Kerfan by. Maybe was looking at pit lane. But ends up staying out another time. It's just Raw, Chicano, and McCorkle right now who haven't made a pit stop. And Stephen Thornton, apologies, also yet to come down pit lane. Did make a stop under that first caution. I mean, Rod's setting himself up for a tyre advantage compared to the field, but he's going to have so much ground to make back up.
Justin Rand just exiting pit road, getting back onto the track. And the gap now between Walls and Durand is insane. See the line there? Well, Walls is on the back straightaway. Middle of the back straightaway right now.
Yeah, it's about 10 seconds between them, maybe a tiny bit more than that. And it's a 4-lap difference in tyres, which is significant, but also the tyres did have quite a long plateau, it felt like. They weren't constantly getting worse and worse and worse and worse. They held off in quite a stable state in those sort of mid to high 34s for quite a while. So we'll see what Durand can claw back over the course of this stint with that advantage. And things are going to be even worse for the likes of Raw, Chicane and McCorkle. They're almost praying for a caution right now, so they can just trap the cars lap down, get themselves on fresh tyres, and find the advantage that way. But it looks like Raw might be out of runway here. It's going to peel down towards pit lane. We'll see where championship leader cycles back out and what sort of gap he has to his teammate.
The good news for him is he's going to have fresher tires than everybody else. The bad news is everybody else has been able to get, fresh tires on and start running faster laps with the advantage of those tires. So I think for Rott, he's going to be at a huge disadvantage. Walls is going by right now. Now, Kurt fan. Rott's still sitting there. More cars passing. Still going. Still going. Now he's rolling.
It's a tricky access road. We mentioned Van Oostendorp had a moment coming off pit lane. You've got to be so careful getting back up to racing speed as well. And there is the rejoin from Justin Raw. The gap is 15 seconds to his teammate at Thin Stand. And it's only about a 8-lap tire delta.
Alonso Chicano came down pit road that last time by, and so Cody McCorkle, the only driver that had yet to come down, he's coming down now.
Yeah, I think this is where the fuel runs out. We mentioned Thornton, the only driver still out from the first stint, and that's because he topped off in pit lane. So I'd give himself a little bit more runway. But those lap times are struggling on the 84. That will cycle Michael Walls officially back to the race lead. He's got 2.7 seconds to Kerfen, who's just 1 lap fresher on tyres. And they've been running pretty similar lap times, it looks like. Meanwhile, we got Rivers Jones here fighting with Gabe Cazzola. Oh, a bit of contact off the corner. Gabe got shot out into the wall a little bit after that. Don't think any damage, fortunately, on either truck, but David Durand trying to get involved as well. It's a tricky spot. Durand on the freshest tyres of any of these drivers. Cazzola help out Jones, try to keep that trip behind for as long as possible, because they know that once Durand gets past, he could start to run away with those tyres. I think Thornton has a flat tyre, actually. Right now, he's going to be forced to peel down pit lane on lap 56. Strategy gamble for the 84. Was making those moves. It did not pay off this time. But brave attempt going all the way to lap 56 on that opening set of tyres.
David Durand still battling. Rivers might have caught the wall there on exit 2.
But still on the wall, it looks like. Durand going to have the overlap, going to be able to clear. Does Jones have a bid run off the corner? Not really. He's gaining a little bit, but he's so far back. And that could be the 24 now wave past. And it's between Jones and Cazzola. Try and fight this one out an even footing now.
Cazzola and Jones, they both have the same amount of laps on their tires. These guys are just putting on a great battle. Jones,
yeah,
in the wall. If I'm Cazzola, I might run the bottom here as much as I keep seeing Jones in the wall.
Might not be a bad idea. One thing I do want you to keep an eye out for, Justin Raw is just a couple of seconds behind this fight. So as we're watching this, that gap is about 2.3 seconds. See how long it takes for the 76 to approach on what is 9-lap pressure tyres. Raw extended all the way, has the safety buffer, has that first round bye, so can take a bit of a gamble here on strategy. And we'll see what sort of purchase he finds with those fresher tyres compared to these two who are fighting hard.
Yeah, you know, maybe something like this, taking a gamble like this is an idea for what he could do in Atlanta if he makes the Final Four. Atlanta and Homestead, they're not the same shape. They drive different. The track surface is a lot older on Atlanta. But they're both 1.5 miles. They are both tracks where saving tires is still key. And I think that one, it's going to come down to a long green flag run itself.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, even more so, crucial on tires. Here comes Justin Raw, as talked to Levi Poland behind, who is on very similar age tires to Jones and Cazzola. I know T. Lamont is on right now. This might look a bit like a multi-class overtake for Justin Raw as he gets towards these next two trucks.
Well, as long as there's not any argy-bargy, we should be alright. As Rod has taken a peek underneath Gabe Cazzola. And actually...
And you go 2 for 1. Go
yep.
on.
Gonna squeak on through underneath one and to the outside of the other.
I think the 76 might head to in and out right now. It's in one out the other.
Well, he's got the green spoiler. So did the other two, but I was going to say a GTD Pro, but, well, my joke kind of ruined itself because the other two are both playoff drivers, so never mind.
Oh, so that's GTD. That's the slowest of all the classes.
Yeah, exactly.
What did happen behind is that Gabe got some slipstream down the back straightaway, had the outside groove into turn number 1, or turn number 3, I should say, and managed to overtake Rivers Jones behind. So now the 95 finally clear. Rivers under pressure now from Levi, who is making that swoop to the inside. And that Rivers, you can see, was holding on for dear life to those positions. And I felt it was Raw coming through, just unsettled the defense to sort of put the drivers out of rhythm for just a moment. Gabe capitalized, and now Jones has fallen behind both him and Levi behind. And it's talking about multi-class, that's how those tend to go. You sort of find those moves as those different speed cars interact. We've got the same thing with these different tire lives right now.
And that other truck there, that's Steven Thornton. He is 2 laps down. P11 though. So I believe Stotts and Van Oostendorp have pulled off.
Yeah. I can investigate why that might have been. I can't really spot. I mean, there was that mistake, of course, for Travis on the way into pit lane. Might have just felt that there wasn't anything more to find out of that truck. As for Matthew, also, I think it's pulled down towards pit lane, coming to finish up lap 59. So, a couple of timings in this middle stint of the race. And it means that there's more points on offer for the remaining drivers who are in playoff drivers. And this ultimately is going to hurt Tristan Marr that little bit more, because drivers like McCorkle, Chicano that were low on playoff points needed good results have a higher floor now because of those drivers that have pulled off and retired.
Yes, absolutely. And the stage points we talked about, that helps as well for Chicano and McCorkle to continue to gain on Maher. Of course, Maher involved in the accident on lap number 1 that took him out of the race. So we have 65 laps to go here from Homestead in the Jurg Motorsports 200. And this has been a pretty interesting race so far. Micah Walls, we haven't really talked about him. He's been running away with it.
Yeah, and impressively has actually put a gap on Alex Kerfen behind, has built that up slightly since the pit cycle, which is really impressive considering how the Kerfen has the fresher tyres, right? It's only by 1 lap, but Kerfen has fresher tyres and yet has been getting pushed further away from Walls ahead. Now we've got Durand behind who's got 5-lap pressure tyres, and Rort behind who has 9-lap pressure tyres. Those two could start to close in, but they're well out of striking distance right now. They are 4 seconds back, 8 seconds back, and we are well past the halfway point of this stint. So if they're going to make those gains, they need to start making them quickly, because pretty soon Mike can make that second stop and lock in the advantage.
Yes. And, we know there is going to be another pit stop in this race for each and every single one of these drivers. Still have, probably about 20 laps before we start seeing it out of some of these drivers. But as Olivia was talking about, how many laps since the last, how many laps since each of these drivers pit, I did pull that up on the screen so you could see that on the ticker. 27 for Walls, 26 for Kerfan, 23 for Justin Rand, 19 for Rott. And, Justin Rand, he is closing in on Kerfan, but it's still a long distance up to Micah Walls.
It's going to be tricky, and Durand does have to clear teammate of Alex Kerfen here to continue that charge. Just let's see how this one plays out, because Durand has the fresher tyres. Yes, it's maybe the best chance that they have of catching up to Walls, but also we're late enough in the stint that the tyre advantage is not huge. It's not like we saw with Rort slicing through traffic earlier. I don't think Kerfen's going to want to give this one up. I think this is going to be a situation of we are racing for our own positions. We are fighting with each other right now. And Alex is going to put on a pretty tough battle for the 5.
I agree. I think it's going to come down to how well has Durand been saving his tires? How well has Kerfan been saving his tires? Is it going to be an easy pass for Justin once he gets up there? We got a battle back here between Poland and Kazola for the 6th position.
I remember Gabe was one of the first drivers to pit. Poland followed in a lap later. So these drivers on 30-lap old tyres as things stand, this is going to be a tricky fight for the two of them. Levi gets to the inside. Can he clear Gabe here? Coming off the corner. Oh, there's a little bit of contact. Maybe air assisted. Kazola came down the track. Wasn't sure if he's looking for a side draft or just trying to squeeze the 45, and very nearly brought out our second caution of the night. They survive another day. Poland again can't clear off the corner. And it's Gabe, he's going for that sidetrack down the straightaway. Really wanted to hold on to this position the best that he can. But Levi gets a better run there through turn 3 and 4. Is going to be clear now. We'll see whether Gabe has anything to fight back with or whether that track position is going to be vital. Looking for that number 45. We do have Chicano and Portal not too far behind this duo. They are on 10-lap fresher tyres. So on the opposite end of that pit cycle, they hang out all the way as far as they could. It does get back through on the entry of turn 3. It's going to be a crossover attempt from Levi Poland. It's going to work. Gabe couldn't get the drive off the corner. But they are racing each other super close here. This is very, very tight battle on lap 79 of 134. Gabe, oh, a slide!
Oh,
Can
man.
he hold on to it? Yes! But maybe taking off a little bit more than he could chew with that move and pass to now gather up those tyres once again.
Yeah, that kind of made the tires angry a little bit. And it's not going to be long. He's going to have Alonso in his mirror. Rivers Jones in pit road.
That's early.
Yeah, it is.
That might be too early.
Looking at 50...
5 laps from pay dirt here.
Yeah.
I think might be able to go right about that, but it's also a spot of if you're going to have the worst tyres in the field all the way once the pit cycle's finished. I just bank maybe on a late caution to gain some positions now, and then by the end of the race, maybe everyone will be in for a fresh set. So in fact, that's going to be a long stop, and Rivers Jones might have dropped out of this one potentially.
Did he get a black flag?
Sure. But I know, has it been Rivers that's been struggling recently? Just getting to the end of these races, struggling with some internet issues throughout the season. Worried it could be a similar situation right now for the 18. This is the time where you need to have things firing on all cylinders, and unfortunately, it is going to be down on pit lane for Rivers Jones, a long stop, and he's going to be done for the day.
That is a tough break for Rivers Jones. Championship contender last season. Justin Durant has caught up to Kerfan, and Durant actually was into the wall there at the entry of 2, but don't look now. But right behind you is Justin Roth.
Oh. I mean, this kind of says it all, and Durant is going to hit here. But I think the reason is, we were talking about it, Durant was 4 seconds behind Walls and Roth was 8 seconds behind. Well, Durant stayed at 4 seconds behind, and Roth climbed to 4 seconds behind. The 76 is still finding time on the drivers in front of him. Durant sort of stalled out there, and is going to make the call to pit here. With 51 to go, again, the fuel will make it, but they are not going to be good feeling tyres by the time you get to the checkered flag.
Kerfan coming down pit road as well. 50 laps to go. These guys are trying something. I don't know if I like that call.
I think there's a response to Walls, because the Walls has held on so well after making one of the first stops in the sequence. But you've also seen how well Justin Roth has caught up on those tyres. And I think this is drivers overcorrecting for seeing Walls build back up. They're trying to undercut and sort of get ahead. But the truth is that they're pitting earlier than sort of that 2/3 mark. And that's really the point you want to be splitting it for tyres. They are going to gain an advantage on Walls, who did get into the wall just there. coming through turn 2, so those tires definitely towards the end of their life. You want to try and stretch it to 90 if you can, make it a nice 44 lap stint to the end. And I think Walls can still be close enough to then make those moves right back if he extends to that point. And Raw probably going to try and do the same thing because he has the fresher tires of everyone else. We've got Zola and McCorkle fighting. McCorkle on 11 lap fresher tires compared to the 95 on the high side. And that's a delta that seems to persist throughout the stint. If it's 3 or 4 laps, then by the end of the stint, it can very much equalize. But once you get towards 10 lap difference between the two trucks, it really keeps you going all the way until the next stop. And you can see that because McCorkle has gotten around nice and easily. Gabe gonna go for a send up the inside, but you've seen how much he's been struggling to continue these fights lap after lap. And Cody just drives around the outside, holds on to the spot, and now has the momentum coming off the corner. Great job from the sits to keep Didion on those fresher tires.
So Justin Rott in second place. He's got Kerfan just out of the rear view. Rott hard into the wall.
Yeah. It's tricky because the line is sometimes try and diamond it, come off the wall, sort of get back up to the wall in the middle of the corner, and then chase it back down. And I think he just got a little bit caught out and misjudged where that second sort of contact point almost with the wall was. One thing I did want to mention is we saw Durand peel down pit lane and then Kerfen respond a lap later. Durand jumped Kerfen by 2 seconds in that one lap. So the undercut is powerful. It's just a matter of when it's worth doing because the advantage comes through. In fact, Michael Walls is going to pit now, lap 90. He's going to go 44 laps to the end. He'll hand over the lead to Justin Raw, who's going to keep going because he's got those slightly fresher tyres. He wants to make that final stint as short as possible and do the same thing again. But he's up into the wall again, struggling on that second set of good years.
For Walls, the way he's broken the strategy down is pit every 45 laps, and this gets him 45 to the end.
Yeah, and it's absent of anything else. It is the sort of the smartest strategy because you never have to deal with those 5th lap old tires. You're splitting it perfectly into thirds, but it's about the situation around you. You don't race in a vacuum. You're not the only car on track, and the dynamics can be very different depending on what the other drivers are doing. You see, Micah does stay on the lead lap there, getting back around Justin Raw, so it's safe if there is a caution. That's a benefit to him pitting when he did. We'll see how much longer Raw can stay out. What it does mean is that Walls is 7 seconds behind Durand and Kerfen because of how long he extended on that stint and how early the 5 and the 30 jumped in, more importantly. We'll see if it pays off because now the 7 is in a 40 lap long chase down on those two trucks. He has the rest of the race to take advantage of that tire offset.
Yeah, and I don't think, if you're Michael Walls, you push it all right here. Just continue to run your race, and you're going to close in. I mean, you've got the advantage with fresher tires than Durand and Kerfan do, and 40 laps to do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely the advice that I sort of always tell myself in a situation like this. Walk, don't run. Don't get scared and force your way towards them in 10 laps, because you've got so much runway to make this happen. You want to leave yourself in the best spot, and that is just by running your race, taking it easy, and letting the natural pace advantage do the work to get you to the back of those trucks. We do have Alonso Chicano peeling down on pit lane now, and Walls cycling through just there, and there's Justin Rourke, race leader, championship leader, peels into pit lane at the end of lap 95, so 5 laps later than Michael Walls. We'll see how far back that drops him, and how much runway he's going to have to try and chase down his teammates. He was to about 3 seconds by the time that the number 7 pit,
Oh,
and
slid!
he's missed his box.
That is huge!
A couple of vital seconds lost on pit road for the 76. We'll see the exact time loss once he gets rolling and we get the cone-to-cone time. He's going to peel out of pit lane, and it's looking like about 1.5 seconds lost compared to his teammate in the number 7. Keep that in mind. That could be a crucial margin. We'll see what Justin can do to try and build it back. But even with that frustration, same advice has to go to the 76 crew. You gotta just run your race. Run the normal 35 lap stint you would on those tires, or sorry, the 40 lap stint you'd run on those tires. Don't let that mistake force you into overextending.
And the gap is half a track. So McCorkle going to come down into pit road. That hands the lead over to Justin Rand. So it's cycled through. Everybody has come down pit road with the exception of Thornton, but Thornton already a lap down. And
do you want to read this out really quick? Walls, 3.5 seconds back from your race leader now, was 0.6 of a second faster last time by. That is the difference between 15 lap old tyres and 7 lap old tyres. Gained another 0.5 second in the last 1.5 miles. So it's expected to get to Durand well within the next 10 laps. And then it's just a matter of how do you get the move done around those 2 Radius Racing trucks. How much time does it take? How much time does it cost you? And does that maybe open the door to your teammate, who, to be fair, is 12 seconds back from you? It's a much bigger gap than what Walls had to Durand when he came out of pit lane.
we are on lap 100. It's almost 100 down, 34 to go, and that will be the case when they cross the line. This time by Justin Rand, your race leader. Alex Kerfan in second. He's got Cody McCorkle going around him on the outside. Does Kerfan. McCorkle just got out of pit road, has fresher tires.
Yeah, and of course McCorkle wants to get these 2 moves done quickly in case there's a caution. It means not having to take the wave around. It means you can probably stay out on your sort of 3-4 lap old tyres. People who are on 20 lap old tyres might come down pit road for a change of good years, and that'd cycle you to the race lead. You'd have a slight disadvantage on the restart, but you'd be in a good spot. Chances of a caution pretty low, given how clean this field is run and how it has been thinned out over the course of the race. But if you're a lap down and you're sort of off cycle a little bit from the leaders, you're thinking about that. And if you're Durand or Kerfan, you have to know that the mindset of the other driver is going to be very aggressive, even though they're a lap down to you.
So Walls is right there with Kerfan. Well, they've got a lap trek between them, but Thornton's been out of the way. He's been doing a great job making sure not to be a factor into this. So now only 3 or 4 truck lengths between Kerfan and Walls. And this will be the battle for the second position. Lead not that far up the road. Don't expect Kerfan to just handle this over 2 Walls, though.
No, absolutely not. He's got a teammate ahead, first of all. And they want to try and work together if they can to keep this truck behind. But also, if you can burn up their tires and bring them sort of down to your level, then you're in a great spot. And that's why Walls has to get it done quickly so that he can keep the gap to his teammate, who is, of course, charging back towards the front of the field. But you've got to do it efficiently. You've got to make sure you don't burn up the tires, have a big slide getting a move done, because that's going to hurt you for the next 30 laps to the checker. It's about picking your moment in a spot like this, being decisive with the move, and he's very decisive with how he got around Kerfer. Just slide up the inside, got door to door down the straightaway, and then was able to use superior grip through the next corner to complete the job. Just now do that one more time on Justin Durand, and then he can continue to manage that gap to Justin Raw, who I think is probably who he's most worried about in this situation. He thinks he can get around Justin Durand, given 28 laps to do so, but he wants to make sure that he still has something to keep that gap and to defend against the number 76.
And he is right there with Durand. Just a couple truck lengths off. And again, I mean, don't expect Durand to pull over. And actually, Wall's going to go around the outside. Try to, at least. Wall's
yes,
now...
the slingshot.
Yep. Take a peek to the inside. Easy. Easy pass.
And that's why going higher there was so smart, to get that move done efficiently. You try and follow behind Durand, you might be able to get there, you might get to his rear bumper sort of in turn 2, but you don't have anything to complete the move with when you do that. You get yourself offset, you're not going to get there as early, but you're going to have that overspeed to get a much cleaner pass done. Walls has been in this spot before again. It feels a lot like Kansas in this race. And Walls using that tire advantage to just slice through the field. Gets now to the race lead. And he's got 9 seconds back to his teammate on 5-lap fresh tires. And only got 25 laps for Justin Raw to slice that to 0.
It's a long way to go. And what seems like a short time to get there.
Yeah. You're talking 4/10 a lap is what Raw would need. Last time by, it was 3/10, but I think that was also maybe while Walls was making the move. So Raw needs to find something to try and close this in. I think extending that a little bit further in the first stint may have just been a step too far. I mean, Walls has just been great on tyres this whole race. You can't deny that, absent of strategy, I think Michael Walls has been one of the favourites. He's just pulling that gap. You see Raw pushing it all the way to the wall. He's still in the 33s. Everyone else is in the 34s, but Micah's only in the 34-1s right now.
I want to take a ride on board with Justin Rott. Watch how he rides to the wall. Or up against it, rather.
It's almost trying to use that cushion of air at the top right. It's almost like a dirt track, where you're trying to stay right at the top right against the wall without quite making contact. You've seen how hard it is seeing drivers overstep that mark a lot tonight. He goes down low for 3 and 4 instead. And that time by was another 33. Actually, he did gain almost half a second on Michael Walls that time by. So at that rate, from that one lap, the job would be good. The question is, how much more does Micah have to respond? Because that was a slow lap from 7, 2/10 slower than the last time by. And again, down in the 34.4s for Michael Walls, your race leader. Justin Raw in response, what does he have? This time it's a 34.1, so he might be starting to lose pace on the tyres for both drivers. They're both starting to fall off a little bit, and the gap relatively between them shrinks just a little bit.
One thing that, I keep thinking about is even if Rott does have the pace to get up to Walls before the end of the race, there's 2 trucks between Walls and Rott that Rott would have to get around in order to get up to Walls, and that could potentially slow him down a little bit as well. Of course, that being second place and third place runners Justin Rand and Alex Kerfan. It would not be necessarily an easy pass. I mean, he'd have the tire life to do so, no doubt, but again, even if he had the pace to get up to Walls, that would slow him down big time.
Yeah, and I think that the problem would be he'd have the tyre advantage over those drivers to get a move done, but he wouldn't have that raw grip to sort of force a move and just run whatever line that he wants to. He's sort of got to just hope that he gets a good opportunity for the tyres to do what they've got left. I think he will get around. I think Raw is probably the favourite for second place right now. I think he'll get there in time. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be an easy job, and it could take that extra bit of life out of the tyres that gives Walls a bit more breathing room.
We're actually about to have a battle for second place. Kerfan on 1 lap fresher tires than Duran. Now, it's still been 34 and 33 laps respectively since these drivers have come down pit road. But 1 less lap on Kerfan's tires, this could really help him in this battle. So they are about to see 17 to go here in the Jurg Motorsports 200.
Yeah, I think when it's a 1 lap difference and when you're 30 plus laps into a stint, the much bigger factor is how you've driven those 30 laps. I think this is more a factor of Kerfan just taking it a little bit easier through this stint. Has that a little bit more to work with because of that, and the fact that he hit 1 lap later just being a secondary sort of help to that. But again, it's just because he's there, it doesn't mean it's to be easy to make a move, and there is no real advantage here. It's very small, and the longer that goes on, the harder it is to sort of choose whichever line, and especially switch between lines, sort of have to get into a different rhythm lap after lap. Kerfan gonna have the run through turn 2, and it was a slide from Justin Durand up on that high side that opened up the opportunity. I think that's what you saw there. Durand maybe wasn't feeling the high side, but had to go there with the move that Kerfan had, and he does waltz through into second place. Rough spot there for the number 5, and could now be at risk of falling off the podium because we have a charging Justin Rort was 7/10 faster than the 5 last lap. Durand wants the podium. He might have to fight his teammate for it, for that 3rd spot.
As these guys have kind of settled it for second at the moment. And Durant's still lingering around there. I want to once again go back and talk about this number 25, Alonso Chicano. Mentioned earlier how he was doing a great job kind of biding his time, staying patient. Well, he's been on a strategy that is very similar to Justin Rott's, and that is staying out a lot longer and having the fresher tire towards the end of a stint. And right now, Alonso Chicano, he's going to maximize the day as much as he can by currently sitting in 5th place. He has fresher tires than everybody else behind him. Well, never mind. McCorkle actually a little bit fresher. McCorkle is so far back, though. I don't think McCorkle is going to be a factor with 13 laps to go. But basically, Chicano, he's worked his way around Gazzola and David Durand. And so he's looking really good to finish in the 5th position right now as this race winds down. And that is exactly the kind of night that Alonso Chicano needed.
Yeah, again, Chicano came in with no points above the 2000 reset. Compared to the driver from the top 5, Michael Walls came in 2nd in points. Alex Kerfen, 3rd in points. Justin Durand, 4th in points. And then, of course, Justin Rort came in top of the table with a bye for 5th place to be the driver who came in 10th. That's a huge gain for the 25. That will, I'm pretty sure, bring him into one of 7 spots for the 2nd round. It's just then a matter of holding on to it through New Hampshire and Chicagoland.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, Alonso, or really any of these drivers, they don't need to be the best right now. They just need to be better than 3 others to get themselves from 10 into the round of 7. 10 to go.
Yeah, and of course, once you're in that round of 7, the job gets a lot tougher because that 2 spots are difficult to wrench away with the incoming points. You got to fight for one of the other 2, but you got to get there first, and then anything can happen. And this is a fight for that 6th place between Gabe Pizzola and David Durand. David Durand, of course, not in the playoff picture. Gabe is, and started the race below the cut line.
Goodness.
So this is a big spot for the 95. Oh, tried to clear. It looked like finally clears. Maybe a bit of a contact there into turn number 3. These 2 are dueling for this spot. Very similar tyre lives as well. They've been on top of each other all race long. And in the final 10 laps, Gabe finally goes for the move to try and get into 6th place. Is there for now. But David Durand going to look for the opportunity. Meanwhile, Tony McCorkle, the 3rd driver who came in below the cut line, isn't too far behind. Is gaining on these 2, but only has 8 laps to make it count.
Well, if these guys continue to battle, this is only going to help McCorkle reel these guys in. This is 2 hard-nosed racers right here between Gazzola and David Durand. They're both really good, really aggressive, and kind of makes for some exciting racing when they do get around each other.
It looks like, once again, Gabe might have gotten the advantage. There's one that I've noticed about Gabe. He's often behind a truck for a while, but manages to hold the pace advantage so that once he's clear, he can just keep them at arm's length. Right now, Durand just about 0.3 of a second back. Gabe's starting to unwind from the 24, but needs to be pretty much perfect to hold that truck back because the gap is still so narrow. Again, Coney McCorkle starting to enter the picture to these two. About 8-9 laps pressure on tyres, but is still a second and a half back. Might not have the time to make both of these moves. Might not have time to make one of them, to be fair. Similar spot for Justin Rohr is 1 second back, has a 12-lap advantage over Justin Durand. But needs to catch and pass, let's not forget. And only gain 0.2 of a second or a tenth and a half in that last lap. But I've just run out of time. This could still be a radius 2-3 to close out the night.
David Durand has not given up on this battle for the 6th position with Cazzola. So you have the 6th and 7th place trucks battling. We're at 4 to go. And taking a look at where Justin Rohr is. You know, he's there. But, you know, like we talked about earlier, where I said it's not going to be an easy pass for Walls. It's not going to be an easy pass for Rohr. And I think the aggression is going to be a lot harder for a battle for a third right now with only 3 laps to go than it would be for 30 laps to go.
Yeah, it's now or never for Justin Rohr. He's there, he's within 0.2 of a second, but might only get one opportunity to actually make this move happen. So if he sees the opening, he's going to try and go for it, and it could cause some trouble here. He's got the run, he goes low down to turn number 3, tries to pinch the number 5, goes low quite late in the corner, it looks like, and the number 5 up against the wall, wants to try and slide up in front. Gets there, 2 laps to go, but now the crossover comes from Justin Durand. He's fighting this one, the final spot on the podium, and it is knock for knock between the two of them right now.
And I said earlier, there's some history between these two drivers. I know Durand is not just going to, you know, say, okay, you got by me, go on ahead. I mean, he's still going to battle. Does not have the tires to be able to continue to battle with Rohr. Might just have to settle for 4th position here as the white flag is waving for Michael Walls.
And Rohr's up into 3rd, but isn't close enough right now to Kerfen to try and get the move done. It's just lagging that little bit too far behind. McCorkle maybe has a chance to line up David Durand as they come across the line to take the white flag. It's to the outside. They're trying to rip the top side. He's got a great move, but right ahead of them is Michael Walls, who will come across the line, save the tyre in a repeat of Kansas, wins the opening race of the round of 10. It will be Kerfen coming home 2nd ahead of Justin Rohr. Durand will be left off the podium. As we look back in this battle for 6th place, McCorkle does clear David Durand, but won't have time to get Gabe Cazzola. Chicano comes home in 5th place. Then it's Gabe, and then it's Cody McCorkle and David Durand who round out that lead lap. A great race at Homestead. 1 caution just in the opening lap, and then clean and green all the way. And just like it was over at Kansas, it is Michael Walls who takes control of the tyre save race, and is going to burn it down in what's left of those good years.
That was a really fantastic race. And a great job for Mike Walls. Just missed out on the regular season championship after battling with Rohr in 2 Talladega races to finish out the regular season. But Michael Walls, he has finished in the best spot he possibly could tonight. That's Best Tasting Donuts down here at Homestead. And he's already sitting in a really good chance to continue his fight for a title into the round of 7. Let's go take a look at the unofficial race results. And it is Michael Walls, we already talked about, taking the win. Alex Kerfan in second. Justin Rott finishes third. Justin Rand in fourth. Alonso Chicano fifth. Gabe Cazola sixth. Cody McCorkle seventh. David Durand, last truck on the lead lap, finishes 8th. Stephen Thornton, last truck to finish, 3 laps down, was 9th. Levi Poland, 46 down in 10th. He started off with he was our first of the DNFs, rather. Then you have Rivers Jones in 11th, Matthew Stotts 12th, Travis Van Oostendorp 13th. And Tristan Maher not even getting to complete a lap before he, not even really getting to complete a turn before his truck took a pretty bad beating. So we have some interviews. Maybe.
Yeah, no one up in the booth right now. I do wonder if everyone's hopped over to their motorhomes to catch the end of the Petit Le Mans potentially. So no, we do have our race winner. We do have Michael Walls willing to hop in for a chat with us.
And Justin Rott as well. We're going to go ahead and bring in our third place finisher, Justin Rott, and see what he has to say after Homestead. Hey, Justin, third place finish for you. This race, it was clean and green for all of every lap except the first. Which led to different strategies throughout the field tonight. You had one where it was run extremely long and have fresher tires on the back end of a run. Was that, the initial thought for you tonight, or what was the thought process for pit strategy?
Yeah, just towards the end of that first run, I wasn't really racing for anything other than a win, and I knew Mike was, way out there and going to be quicker anyway, so I just needed to separate myself, maybe whether I get a caution or just run it long and split it in half and just have 2 shorter runs. Try something, and he didn't really. I think we evened out to basically where we would have been. I think I probably would have been ahead of Kerfan if I split that kind of evenly. But I'm not too sure because it would have taken a lot to pass him on equal tires, him and Justin both. So it gave me an opportunity to make passes and put me on a different strategy to hopefully win the race.
Now, we've talked about how this entire round, it's kind of a bye for you. And it takes the pressure off of you for sure, but you obviously still want to go out and get wins. And so, we look into the next couple of weeks. I assume that's kind of the mindset. Just go out there and win. Try to steal some points away from other drivers, or what's that like for you?
Yeah, pretty much all tonight I drove up there. I really just wanted to lead laps just to say I could lead some laps, I guess, early in the race. And then tires fell off a little quicker than I thought, and I didn't get as far out ahead as I thought I was going to, and I fell back. But once I got on the top towards the end of the first run, I was pretty good. I think I ended up still third, maybe fourth in the stage. So yeah, just trying to, I guess, take a couple points away here and there. But right now, it's Kerr fan Justin. They're likely going to advance anyways, so it's not a too big a deal for that. Really just stuffing the stat sheet a little bit, and obviously it opens the door for strategy. Like tonight, I probably wouldn't have ran all the way on that first tank of fuel if we had if I was points racing. So it opens the door for strategy. If it's not my day, I can try something else and not have to worry about points racing at all. And even if we get a caution timely, that I could go get a stage win or something when everyone else doesn't want to waste a tire set or something. That opens the door for that and get me another playoff point. I'll go in towards making the Final Four at Atlanta.
Sponsors, shout outs, who gets it done for you?
Yeah, shout out Mike on an awesome win. He was really quick, obviously. Gabe, Rivers, Stotts, Travis, all in the race. Jurg, Steven, watching at home. You two up in the booth, and everyone watching.
All right, congrats on the podium finish, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
That was Justin Rott, our third place finisher here tonight in the Jurg Motorsports 200. Olivia, I believe you have Alex Kerfan.
Alex, welcome to the booth. Good run for you tonight. You, of course, took that pole position, some decent points to finish out the stage, and then in the end, a second place finish, fending off Justin Raw at the end. Talk us through how that race was for you, and especially the strategy call to pit super early in that final stint to get yourself that undercut over those GOAT Racing guys.
Yeah, two second place finishes in 3 races. Definitely doesn't feel good, but it doesn't feel bad for sure. It feels more good than bad. But definitely an enjoyable race today. Very clean race. I think that had something to do with the truck numbers, but the strategy to pit early, it was. Me and Justin were talking about it because me and him were pretty much the only 2 of us that were up front, and we just felt like our best chance to get back up there and take the lead was to undercut, and just save the tires as much as we could for the battle approaching at the end. Micah was, sorry, my dog started barking, distracted me. Micah had no problem getting past us. He was pretty much domination the entire freaking race. But I think it was Las Vegas where I did this strategy last season, where I pit a bit early. I saved my stuff in preparation for Micah to catch back up, and I was able to hold him off that time. So that's kind of where our heads were at. But it wasn't enough to get first, but it was definitely enough to secure that podium, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, great points, of course, through this first round of Perth. You started in a great spot, but this really helps you along. How are you feeling for the next couple of rounds? Chicagoland, probably quite similar to this, but then New Hampshire, a little bit of a wild card. How are you feeling heading into next week?
Yeah, Chicagoland and New Hampshire, I happen to have wins at both, so I feel pretty good. Chicagoland more so. I love the intermediates. They're my home. But I've definitely in the past struggled at the shorter tracks, the shorter flatter tracks, but I've definitely worked hard on that, and I feel like I'm pretty decent at it now. Pretty good all-around racer at each type of track, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm pretty confident.
All right, well, we'll wish you the best heading through the rest of the round of 10. And before we let you head out for tonight, if there's anything you want to say to the fans at home, now would be the time.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone who watches the race, my friends and family. The support's awesome, especially when the viewership's been struggling, the truck count's been struggling in the races, but we're trying our best out here to put up a good show, and we appreciate anyone who watches. I'd like to thank all the sponsors and my teammates, C2 Graphics, Corwell Health, Kerfans Market, all the good guys, Alonzo Chicano, we got Justin, we got Tristan, we got Cody, everybody. There's too many to name. You guys all know I love you. So have a good one, guys, and great broadcast.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
That was your second place finisher for tonight, Alex Kerfan, which means there's only one more driver to speak to. It is the driver of the number 7 GOAT Racing truck. Joshua Toppenall is standing by with your race winner, Micah Walls.
Indeed I am, Micah. It was another dominating win out there for you. We didn't really talk about you much. You were just in another zip code. Started 7th, got up to lead pretty quickly, and drove away. How was the truck just handling for you out there?
Yeah, it was handled real great. It was just probably one of my better tracks on iRacing, considering I already have a win here in BSR at Homestead before, many seasons ago. But yeah, it was just a matter of saving tires running the bottom. I don't think a lot of people could save their tires on the bottom like I could, so.
Now, it was a race that had a lot of different strategies play out. For you, you were running something different than like your teammate Justin Rott was. Were you sticking with the strategy that you had?
Yeah, it was. I knew I had to do 45 lap increments whenever I came into pits there. It was just. It felt like that was the good amount. Whenever Justin ran and Alex Kerfan pitted early on that second run, I just knew I had to stick to my strategy and everything would work out.
This definitely helps you into, a step into the round of 7. I don't believe that it's a win and you're in. Well, I know it's not a win and you're into the next round. But with the points situation that you already had, how much momentum does this bring to continue on to the fight into the round of 7?
Yeah, it was kind of disappointing we didn't get a chance to win the regular season after missing one race. It was really disappointing for us. But yeah, we should have enough points to make it next round no matter what. So hopefully we'll just keep getting more playoff points and we'll have a good shot to make the Final Four.
All right, sponsor shout outs. Who gets it done for you?
I got shout out all the good guys and shout out Bill.
All right. Congrats on the race win, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
That's race winner, Micah Walls. And great race we had tonight here at Homestead. Final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the drivers put on a great show tonight. Again, we mentioned was a short field, but what that does tend to give you is those longer green flag runs. Drivers came prepared to let those long 2-stop strategies play out, and it was great to see how they all intersected towards tail end. In the end, though, it was Michael Walls who just had the better save than everyone else, the better pace, and drove off into this Miami sunset.
So we look forward to our next race, which is going to be at New Hampshire, and that track it's drives a whole lot different than Homestead does. It is a flatter track. It's 1 mile in length, and it's going to be a whole lot of different type of race than the one we saw tonight. Looking forward to that one that we will have next week at New Hampshire. So that's going to do it from us here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. For the Jurg Motorsports 200, congrats to Michael Walls on the race win. And on behalf of the entire outstanding crew at JCTV, with Olivia Hayward, I'm Joshua Copperle, signing off, saying so long, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.